Nigerians might have to pay more for bread. Yes, this is because bread makers, well, across the country now are saying that they are selling at a loss. We have details in this report.
The role of bread in food security of Nigeria cannot be overemphasized, as it has found its place on the table of every Nigerian household, regardless of social standing, making it the most popular staple food in Nigeria today. Data also shows that about 70% of the flour consumed in the industry goes to bread production. These media engagements by the Premium Bread Maker Association of Nigeria and the Association of Masters Bakers and Caterers of Nigeria is to bring relevant agencies up to speed with issues that say could wipe out the entire bread business value chain. Between March and August 2020, price of flour rose from 10,000 to 13,500. Sugar increased from 13,500 to 29,000. Milk also rose from 29,000 to 52,000, while margarine moved from 5,800 to 11,000.
Most of us got loans with double-digit interest rates from banks and other financial institutions to fund our bakery projects. And we're finding it extremely difficult to meet our loan repayment obligations. We're using this medium to convey to the millers, sugar refiners, and all other ingredient manufacturers that PBAN and AMBCN shall no longer take the backseat and watch such blatant increases going forward. We shall react with equal price increases or stiff resistance.
Distributors are also worried. They were concerned about the impact of this move on the masses.
Several occasions we have met the millers. The stories they used to tell me is that they are not getting enough dollar from the federal government. They used to complain of dollar. And mind you, all what is being used to produce, wheat and some other things are being brought from abroad. So that has been the problem.
We distribute this bread to the public, and you see, to have to convince them, because at times a lot of questions were being asked, that you are the distributors of this product. Why don't you talk to your manufacturers to reduce the price? They will now say, well, it is not the fault of the manufacturers, but the fault of the government, because we have been crying to the government to please assist us.
According to several financial reports, the size of the Nigerian bread industry is estimated at $621 million, with an annual compound growth rate of 3% within the next year. If properly harnessed, jobs will be created and food security will become a reality.
I have joining me live in the studio the president of Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Tosan Jemide. Thank you very much for your time.
Chulu, how are you? You're welcome.
Very well, and it's great to have you in the studio. It's been a while. Price of bread going up, it's not really a good one for me. I actually had bread even this morning before I came to work, and I don't know what is really happening. Take us through what is really happening so that Nigerians understand and don't really think that maybe it's the other way around.
Yeah, well, it's been long coming. Bread is, as you well know, is a Nigerian staple. I would clearly say that bread is the most common food eaten in Nigeria because you eat it with basically anything. Now, over time, what's happened is that bread, which has all export imports, you see all our inputs are imported. Unfortunately, they tried to introduce cassava flour. I don't think it was successful. So basically, wheat is imported, margarine is imported, sugar is imported, everything is imported. So that is what we know as bread. Now, with imports, anything goes up once the price of dollar increases by no matter what small fraction. So essentially, we're in this industry where we experience increases swayed by the dollar. And there's not so much we can do normally because it's a very price-sensitive market. So you're thinking about passing on the cost to to the consumer, and what's the spending power? Expendable income is depleting very quickly in the country. The common man cannot eat food now. So when you think about increasing, then you're worrying who's going to buy the bread. So you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, thinking, I want to increase, I want to make profits, but by the time I increase my bread, then I'm not going to be able to sell as many loaves as I should in a day to be profitable.
Yeah.
So there's that fight between margins and volumes, because bread, as it were, is a volume-driven business. The industry is driven by volumes, and if you're doing volumes, then you can make your profits back. So essentially, we have been in this place where cost is a problem for us. We seem to be subsidizing. We feel that we're NGOs. We feel that we're charity organizations feeding the nation. This operation Feed the Nation. And basically we're giving bread at minus figures just because we want to be in business. So we've gotten to this point where we can't cope anymore.
So I was thinking, the millers, they are human beings like us. Do you talk to them? But anyway, I also understand that aspect when you talk about the dollar issue. You cannot actually control that.
Yes.
That's beyond you. But are they doing anything to, as the millers? I thought there was a time we're looking at backward integration, which you identified.
So there's been talk about backward integration, but I don't think it's really possible yet, because what we know to be bread is not cassava bread, because it's not really palatable to the Nigerian palate. But the millers on their own, they're in a very difficult situation. Their position is not nice as well. But, I think that there needs to be some sort of forum where all the stakeholders come together. Whether we like it or not, it's one chain. It's a value chain, and it's all tied together. So each man playing his own part and doing what they want to do like it's nobody's business, it boils down to one person will suffer. Now, as it were, the bakers are the ones who's suffering, because the people who are manufacturing and producing and supplying us will not, with the slightest increase in dollar, they will put their markup. The distributors and consumers are resistant. So don't increase. If you increase, I won't buy. So we're caught in the middle. And all the time, that's where we are. So we're suffocating, we're choking. And it's not sustainable anymore. So we're saying, look, we need to come together. Federal government, come to our intervention, come to our aid, come and see what can be done here. This is an industry that employs millions of people, the distributors, their families, feeds millions of people, So I think that when we look at the bread industry as a whole, its contribution to the economy is worth enough for the government to look at
really
and say,
intervene.
we need to do something.
I'm also worried. Now you guys are saying we cannot breathe. Exactly, that's what you're saying. You're also saying that you react with equal price increases. Can you let Nigerians understand what this means?
So essentially, like I've said, we're basically subsidizing for the Nigerian people. So any loaf of bread you see on the table to buy, it's subsidized. So we're saying we can't do it anymore, because we thought, okay, maybe it's a season, it's a passing season, it will come and go. There's no need to begin to push for price increases all the time. But it's getting increasingly worse. Since COVID started, the price of flour has gone up 6 times. And for those 6 times, we haven't increased price at all. So we're at this point where we can't cope anymore. So we're saying that I think it's better for us to be real with each other and honest and transparent. So whenever there's an increase, we're going to have to match it because we're in business to make profits. If we cannot go back and buy ingredients back, then we're out of business.
Now, I know I have pictures of graphics showing this increase in prices and what it means and how it affects that, talking about the graphical representation. And this would also make people understand what we are really talking about. I think those pictures will come up as we continue this discussion. You talked about your members even going into loans and all of that and not being able to pay. Tell us the effect of this on you. Yes, we have it now. Increase in price of bread, baking ingredients from March to August. You can see what's been happening to the industry. We have all of this. So take it from there. How are your members coping with this? I was thinking that if the prices are too expensive, some might want to cut corners. So tell us, how have they been coping with business, being in business with all of this?
Well, first of all, when you're used to producing quality, your product is a quality product, then it becomes difficult for you to cut corners. So in our association, we believe in quality bread. We don't believe that we should poison the citizens of Nigeria. So we want to give them good bread to eat on their tables, nutritious, wholesome. So it's a big challenge for us. It's more of a challenge because we cannot cut corners. So we're saying for us to continue to deliver good quality bread to the citizens, we need to be able to find, decent pricing for our raw materials. And if we can't, then we have no choice but to increase the prices of our products. So it's been very tough for members. Bakery owners are struggling. It's not a very good picture when you go into the bakeries and look at the figures, and it's disheartening because we're all Nigerians, hardworking, we're honest, trying to make a good living, and there has to be some point where there is merit for hard work.
Yeah.
You work so hard, and then at the end of the day, you find that your business is just crumbling and going into pieces. I mean, it's not.
I also see this association with the master bakers and caterers of Nigeria. So it seems like you all are coming together now to speak with one voice. So it means that this is actually affecting everyone running this business.
Basically. So, I mean, the master bakers and PBAN, we've not come together at any point before. This is the first of a kind where the master bakers and PBAN have actually come together on the same table to say, look, we can't take this anymore. It's too much. We need to do something about it. And that basically goes to show how deep the cut is.
So now let's focus on government, because government has the power to address some of these issues, whether by policies, whether by speaking to the Apex Bank and all of that. What are your direct requests from government to make sure that, because this concerns everybody, bread is staple food. It's really worrisome. I'm sure Nigerians listening to us, they are glued to the TV and they want to know what's going to happen. Maybe by tomorrow when they go out, the bread for 100 naira, myself for 150 or even more.
Well, it's going to happen eventually if nothing is done. Because I think that the importance of bread, we need the government to do something, because bread is vital and critical to Nigeria as a nation. Now, we're talking about food security. People are hungry. So whether you like it or not, what will save that whole issue of no hunger is food. Now, bread is the easiest thing that people can buy. Bread is the easiest thing for people to eat without having to cook, and they can eat it with various things. So when you look at what's happening in the country as a whole, we believe that the government can come to our aid somewhat. There's several issues. First of all, the government is saying no FX on food importations anymore. I mean, my own understanding as a Nigerian is why? You can't produce food as a nation on your own. You're not independent enough to say, look, cut out food imports so we will feed our nation ourselves. It is good for us to be able to feed our nation ourselves, and whatever is left we export. But right now, we can't. So what do? Do people begin to die of hunger? I don't think so. I believe that the government needs to intervene, make provision for food imports, especially the vital foods that people eat. Manufacturers are producing things that, you know, Nigerians are eating daily. Make provisions for manufacturers. They're employers of labor. They oil your economy, you know. So when you begin to kill the manufacturing industry, then essentially you're also killing your economy, you know. So I think the government needs to look into that. Also, you know, I mean, there's this thing about the wheat development program, which has been on for quite a number of years, you know, and it's a good and novel idea to be able to improve and grow our wheat industry. Absolutely fantastic. But, you know, we've been doing this for how many years now? It's either it's working or it's not working. So if it's not working, then what are we doing about it? Now, essentially how this affects Nigerians as a whole is that import duty on wheat is 5%. At the time where the government introduced this initiative, they capped that 5% by 15%. So the total duty that the millers pay is 20%. Now 15% is for wheat development program. Now this is to ensure that we're growing wheat enough to feed the Nigerian economy. But it's not happening. So if that program is not successful, then why are you still charging Nigerians 15%? And that's something I think the government needs to look at. Even if you're not taking it off completely, then crash it, you know, a 5%, a 10%, and then build on slowly until it's sustainable. You know, but as it is now, I think the masses are suffering the impact of what is supposed to be a development program that is not functional, in quote.
I really hope government looks into this, because I would like to keep on having bread in my house. We'll have to eat bread, and I know everybody here also like to eat bread. Just 60 seconds, drop a word for your members.
Bread might become a luxury very soon.
Oh.
And I would say that Nigerians just need to brace up. You know, it's not a good picture that we see ahead, you know, but we're ready for it.
Mr. Tosan Jemide, thank you very much for your time. He's the president of Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us, despite the rains in Lagos.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.